and welcome to my channel here at Nick Reads Books. In today's video I'm going to be going through a spoiler-free rating and thoughts on the Bands of Mourning by Brandon Sanderson. The Bands of Mourning is the penultimate book in the Mistborn Era 2 series, and it follows our two favourite lawmen, Wax and Wayne. I've really enjoyed Mistborn Era 1 by Brandon Sanderson, as well as the first two books in Era 2, The Alloy of Law and Shadows of Self. I think Brandon really builds on the relationships established in the first two books, as well as the mystery of the looming danger that is threatening Schedule. I would say overall that the book was solid. Not exactly a game changer for the fantasy genre, but overall a very enjoyable read. While I rate all my books across 5 different categories, in this video I'm only going to be covering the plot, the characters and the world building, just to keep this a bit of a shorter video, and obviously can't get into sort of the emotional impact without going into a bit of a more spoiler discussion. But with that being said, let me jump into my rating of the Bands of Mourning. So the overall rating that I gave the Bands of Mourning was a 7.9 out of 10. And for those of you that haven't seen my previous videos, you like to use the 2 to Ramble channels rating system, which covers plot, character, emotional impact, world building and prose. So I rate each of them out of 10, and obviously I came to 7.9. So to be more specific, for characters I gave the book an 8. For the plot I gave it a 7.5. For the world building I gave it an 8 as well. And for prose and emotional impact I also gave it an 8, coming out to 7.9. So with that out of the way, let's jump into what I thought about the characters. So as I just said, I gave characters an 8 out of 10. A real solid cast of characters. In the Bands of Mourning we follow essentially 4 to 5 main characters, depending on how you see, or at least I think, how you see Milan or Milan. Hey, who knows how you say it. But those main characters being Wax, Wayne, Steris, Marcy, and as I said, Milan. While I enjoy the characters and the interactions they have between one another and how unique they are in their personalities, let's just say none of these characters are probably going to be jumping onto my top 10 list of favourite characters in fantasy anytime soon, but definitely an enjoyable group to follow around, especially for the last 3 books, and I feel like a bit of an evolution that Brandon has brought to these characters, and a sort of cementing relationships between the characters works really well, and I can't wait to see how they grow in the 4th and final book, The Lost Metal. So starting off with Wax, how can you not like Wax, the old gunslinging cowboy, lawman, pushing the boundaries sort of character. But what I especially liked about his character in this book is his relation with Steris, his betrothed, shall you say, and how that is more elaborated on, and we see more of that in their interactions compared to the first 2 books. It felt like in The Alloy of Law and Shadows of Self, and even at the beginning of this book, there was still that sort of will they, won't they, with a bit of a 3-way sort of love triangle sort of going on with Wax, Wayne and Marcy, but I feel like that is kind of squashed in this book. Wayne continues to be Wayne. What can you say? He would probably be my favourite, if not my second favourite character in the Mistborn Era 2. I really enjoy his work with accents and disguise. It especially worked well in comparison to Marcy, who's very by the book and doing things by the letter of the law. Steris is Steris, kind of similar to Wayne. She is, I think, you're either going to love her or absolutely not enjoy any of her parts, but I for one really enjoy her, and if you understand that is how Steris is, then I think you can really enjoy her character. I think Marcy probably saw maybe the most growth in this book. her little interactions with Wayne, and sort of stepping back and realizing what her relationship with Wax is, really will set her up to be a really cool character, I think, in the fourth and final book. So moving on to the plot, I gave the plot a 7.5 out of 10, which is a decent score. I usually am pretty lenient, or like pretty generous on all my ratings of most books. The problem is, I wouldn't say it's a problem, but more the fact that the story is very just straightforward. There's no real, plot-wise, I don't feel there's really many twists. That's more in the world-building side. It's very similar to the first two books, a bit of a mystery. Got to go find something, using detective skills, Wax, Wayne, Marcy working together to figure out this mystery. So yeah, nothing that, you know, rewrites the book on fantasy plots. I do like the sort of mishmash of fantasy and the Western style that I feel like Brandon Sanderson is going for in Era 2. One thing I will give the plot is that it does work well to kind of expand the Cosmere parts of the book, a bit of the throw to the Cosmere and this understanding of a wider sort of story going on. For anyone who's read outside the Cosmere, there's lots of little points that you'll pick up on, I feel like. And I think the revelations in this plot, as I said, really open it up for the fourth book. And from what I've heard, The Lost Metal is the biggest or the most Cosmere aware book that Brandon has really written so far. So I'm excited to jump into that one. So stepping over to the world building, I gave it an 8 out of 10. As I probably alluded to in the plot, there's a lot of references to wider things going on, especially with the ending, and even, like I said, with the revelations of a wider world and not just this basin that they've been from Ellendale to New Seren, this new location in the Rafts. There's a much bigger planet out there that no one's really gone and explored. As is typical for Brandon Sanderson, I feel like the magic system is absolutely amazing in this book. I really enjoyed Era 1's use of the metals and the different, you know, the Mistborn and the hematology and the other different sort of magics that are in that, and how that's been transferred into this Era 2, how it sort of died down. No one has been born a Mistborn, but there's a sort of mix between, you can have one elementic power and one ferrochemic power. And yeah, I think he does really well in establishing those different sort of combinations and how unique that is. And I feel like for those who are more Cosmere aware, it shows the greater, through the magic system, the greater effects this might have on different locations. Well, that has been my spoiler-free review of the Bands of Mourning by Brandon Sanderson. While Mistborn Era 2 might not jump up into the top echelons of my fantasy series that I've read, it is definitely one that I would recommend to anyone who's into fantasy, especially, well, if you're already reading Brandon Sanderson, you're definitely going to read this series, but I think people should definitely give Mistborn Era 1 and 2 a go. I'm excited to jump into The Lost Metal, the fourth book of this era. I've seen that it has kind of divided the fantasy community. People either love it or hate it. I'm hoping to fall into the camp of loving it. Once again, thank you all for watching, and feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you here in my next video. See ya.